Okay, number 6, they give me two relationships to plot, and I'm looking at those guys over there. And for a lot of students, it's kind of confusing when they do that because they say, oh, x is sine of y, and then you're looking and say, I wonder what that means. Basically, you could rotate a coordinate system if you want. You don't have to do this over here. In other words, I'll tell you what I mean by that. You could write this as y equals sine of x, and you could write this as y equals 1 minus cosine of x. And over here, you simply say Lx is between 0 and pi over 2. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, you can. And why would that be convenient for you? Because this is, much easier for most students to graph, and this is easier for most students to graph. And again, you just go between those two over there. And that's fine. If you want to do that, that's a fine thing to do. Let me just say that we're going to look at the picture, though. And I want to just kind of identify one picture at a time. And I want to do this one first, x equals the sine of y. Let's look at the picture, and over here. And, the curve, it's this one over here. All right, that's x equals sine of y. And the other one, actually it's labeled for us. The other one is, x equals 1 minus cosine of y. And they want the region where y goes between 0 and pi over 2. So they want this region over here. Now someone says, how do you do that? I would look at it and, basically just looking at the curve, I want to get a rectangle out of it, all right? But I want my differential to be y, right? So what does that mean? I want my rectangle to go this way. The differential will be dy. So what I want to do is write down, what I like writing down first, which is the differential with the limits. So put dy over here. And what's the limit going to be? Well, we're starting at y equals 0, and we're stopping at y equals pi over 2. Now, looking at it, this is the upper part, and that's going to be sine of y. Minus the lower, which is going to be 1 minus cosine of y. All right? Now, what I'm going to do now, the picture was helpful. I'm going to do the integration now. And how do you do that? Antiderivatives. The antiderivative of sine is going to be minus cosine. Then you have minus 1. The antiderivative of that is going to be minus y. Then you have plus cosine of y. And that's going to be plus sine of y. All right? And then dy. Not the dy, the limits, I'm sorry. 0 to pi over 2. All right? Let's take a look. And what do you get? Well, the upper limit, pi over 2, when I plug it in, I'm going to get, cosine of pi over 2 is just 0, and opposite of 0 is just 0. And then I get minus pi over 2. Don't be alarmed. Then what do you get? You get the sine of y. Well, if y is pi over 2, that's going to be just 1, right? Minus the lower limit. What do you get there? Well, the cosine of 0 is going to be 1. So I get minus 1. And then you get 0 and a 0. So put this over here. What does this give us? I gotta be careful. I get 1 minus a minus 1, which is 2. So 2 minus pi over 2. Let me get this a common denominator, 2. And that would be 4 minus pi now. Okay, mistakes happen. Right? Like you misread something, you misunderstand, arithmetic errors, all kinds of troubles, all right? So what I want to do is go back and kind of look at this over here, and I'm pretty sure we did that okay. So, this sine y, minus 1 minus cosine of y, we did that all right. Limits of integration, 0 to pi over 2. Did I get the antiderivative okay? I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Sine y minus cosine y and a minus a y. Yep, I got that part done. Limits of integration, I did fine. And they wrote something down over here. I want to point out, it does look different than mine, and I want to go through that with you. So I wrote this one down, but let me just go back over it. And what would you get over here? You're going to get 2 minus pi over 2, because 2 goes into 4 2 times, and it's just simply minus pi over 2. Let's see if they wrote that down. And I notice there's an error here. And I'll correct that. You're not going to see that, by the way. I will correct that error. Thank you.